Welcome to my party celebrating 1 month of daily videos. Okay, I guess we'll take that. Please join me and my guests the videos I made in the past 28 days. Like in all the best parties, your host is drinking some chamomile tea, has some bullet points to get through and some stats to share. Let's get this party started. So today's agenda, yes, I have attended more board meetings than parties, why do you ask? Today's agenda is as follows. I will recap the aim of me making daily videos. I'll share some stats. I'll do an overview/review of the 28 days, and then I'll share some thoughts and possible next steps. So the stated aim of this series of daily videos was to record myself do one thing at a time. I made up a project name, One Thing at a Time, where I choose one thing and I do it until it's done. No multitasking. That was the stated aim. So it was kind of as a diary of me attempting to do this and kind of trying to address the fact that when I don't do that, when I do try to split my attention across many different things, I seem to not get anything done at all. So it was an attempt at solving that. Of course, I was also sharing the video diary publicly, but I just want to make it clear at the start that my aim was not to grow my channel or to be a YouTuber, so to speak. Of course, these videos have been watched by people now, so I am thinking about the quality of them more, and more on that later. But I'm just clarifying, just in case someone stumbles on this video and they want to have insights on how this helped grow my channel or something like that. That wasn't really one of the stated aims, and I did not do any optimization or research into keywords or thumbnails or viewer retention or any of that kind of stuff. And believe me, that all sounds incredibly exciting. I love a spreadsheet, but I did not do any of that for these 28 days. That said, even though it's unimportant for my goals, I will share some stats just for those people who love numbers like me and maybe found this video because they're interested in that kind of stuff. So I'll just very quickly whiz through all the stats, and if you're not interested, you can skip to here. So in the last 28 days, I got 2,134 views. However, as far as I understand, people who barely watch still count, because the kind of percentage of the video that people watch can be quite low and it still counts as a view. So I'm not sure that means much. And the peak of views was actually on the 6th of February. So I'd only been posting for maybe 4 days by that point. So that's maybe interesting. Maybe YouTube, I mean, not particularly to me, but to you, maybe it's interesting. Maybe YouTube pushes new channels when they've prove themselves so they can post daily for a couple of days. I've no idea. Sorry, I shouldn't be trying to get any conclusions out of this because I've done zero analysis on these numbers. I'm just telling you the numbers. 76.5 hours of watch time. I think that's more interesting because that's hard and fast hours, right? Hours and minutes. That's a real number. 46 new subscribers. That's very nice. And my most viewed videos, I have absolutely no idea what to make of this data, but the Artist's Way intro on the 10th of February, my 8th video, 261 views. I kind of understand that. The second most viewed is I've been playing catch up, which was my 3rd video, and it has 223 views. And then the 3rd most viewed one is The Artist's Way Day 8. I don't know, that feels quite random to me, but that's fine, that's nice. All of my audience is between the ages of 25 and 34 apparently. 26% is from the US, which I'm assuming is because I am posting these videos at ungodly hours for me here in the UK at like 2, 3, 4, 5 a.m. in the morning for me. And so maybe that's a more civilized time in the US. And then 8.7% is from the UK, and then the rest is from elsewhere. I think that's enough for stats. If you're interested in any other stats, let me know. I'm happy to share. Now that we got that out of the way, I will continue to glance at my notes because that is the best way to enjoy oneself. So, since it's a celebration, I hope you won't mind me listing what worked over the past 28 days. So, first thing that worked, I made 28 daily videos. I said I would, and then I did, which is not that obvious with me. I even continued to make videos while I was traveling and visiting my family back in Italy, which I really thought may be the time where I sort of miss a day or two, but I kept going. I'm briefly going to mention 2 things that I achieved in the past 28 days, but I think I would have done without the videos as well. And that's 1, the crocheted anime character. Because that was for a birthday, I think I would have done it anyway, even if I wasn't making daily videos. And 2, my British Sign Language level 2 assessment, well, my first assessment for the level 2. I mentioned it and then I had the assessment and I passed it, but I think I would have studied just as hard if I wasn't making daily videos. And then I think there were a bunch of things that were directly or indirectly a result of me making the videos. So one thing that I did towards the start was I helped someone else with their outline for a novel. I do think I would have done it anyway because I was helping someone else, but I think I may not have done it quite as thoroughly or not quite as well, I guess, if I hadn't committed to the one thing at a time project. So it wasn't necessarily a direct effect of the video because I barely talked about what I was doing on camera, but I had committed to the one thing at a time and that was the thing that I picked. So I think the accountability helped there. And then there were 3 big chunks of things, I guess, that had an effect. So one was obviously a large chunk of the month was taken up by me doing the artist way, speedrunning the artist way for 12 days instead of 12 weeks. Despite my many reservations about the book and the course itself, I think just having that structure of spending a lot of time every day answering journaling prompts and thinking about creativity and art and myself. Oh, it sounds so introspective and so self-centered, but just doing that had knock-on effects, basically, whether that was directly because of the artist way or just because of having committed to doing journaling, basically, for 12 days in a row. So some things that I think were directly or indirectly connected to the artist way, which was directly connected to me making these daily videos, I went back to trying to play the piano, realized that my cable didn't work anymore, got a replacement cable, plugged it in, and got the courage to post myself a few seconds of myself playing piano on this channel, which wasn't good piano playing, but I'm still counting it as an achievement that I shared it. I mean, I'm giving myself a participation medal here. I started telling people that I'm a creative or that I'm a performer, not that I'm an artist quite yet, but that I'm a creative person or that, oh, I trained to be an actor, stuff like that, which is something that I mentioned in a video towards the start. I'm actually quite excited to see what starts happening once I put it out there that I want to be an artist. Last week, when I was asked what I do, I said that I was currently in between jobs, but that's what I do is administration. I'm an administrator. And because I said that, everyone there very, very helpfully took me at my word, because why wouldn't they? And basically started looking out for admin jobs. And that's so lovely, but the truth is that I want to move towards a more creative direction. And in the same way, I was attracting administration jobs when I told people I was an administrator. The moment I mentioned that I perform and I am a creative person that way, people started saying, oh, I know this local film director and I'll keep an eye out for sort of creative job opportunities. Another indirect consequence of doing the artist way, which is because of the videos, you get it, I'll stop repeating that now. I started making collages again. Now, this is not something that the artist way makes you do, but I just decided arbitrarily that that's what I would do. So I made a bunch of mixed media collages, which was fun, and I love doing that kind of stuff, and I hadn't done it in many years. I also made an entirely purple dinner, which was a dream of mine for a long time, and again, not really something that the artist way tells you to do, but I think because I was doing such fun stuff, I was inspired to do that. I also started using Obsidian, and I have kept it up for note-taking. Again, not directly related to the artist way, but the amount of writing I was doing during the artist way made me think I want to have a way of capturing all of that writing, so it kind of reminded me that for a long time I have been meaning to have some sort of note-taking system, and it kind of gave me the kick I needed to actually get it started. And of course, via all of that journaling, it wasn't even through one of the prompts in the artist way, but just me sort of taking some notes about something, and I had the revelation that I know what I want to do, or at least I know what I want to do next. I'm not saying this is the only thing I will do for the rest of my life, but I know what my next step is, and it's to try and do stand-up comedy. So that was a big revelation, because a month ago I would have told you that I don't know what I want to do next. I am sort of directionless, and I don't know, maybe I want to completely give up all types of performance and retire in a cabin in the woods. So cabin in the woods still sounds quite nice, but I know now my next step, so that's a pretty big deal. I think most importantly, the kind of commitment to the daily videos and the daily Artist Way journaling and stuff. The morning pages specifically for the Artist Way, which by the way are not without their own issues, and yes, the review is coming sometime, but the morning pages specifically and some of the other journaling prompts, what they have done, I think, is have allowed me to ask myself questions and answer them, which sounds obvious, but I think I had this, I used to just Google stuff. Like it sounds mad, but I did. Whenever I wanted to do something, I would just Google an instructional. And I have found out that sometimes I can just ask myself the question and my brain gives me the answer. Not for factual stuff. I'm not talking about like dates. I'm talking about like how to do something. And again, I don't mean how to build a house or something really technical that I don't have the skills for, but something like, when I come up against an issue with a system, obviously all of our brains work differently. So while there is obviously a value in seeing what other people are doing or what works for other people, I have been doing that. I have absorbed all of the other people's methods for doing everything under the sun. And now I can just ask myself a question. So for example, I did that with the stand-up comedy thing. I wanted to make a 12-week project for the stand-up comedy goal. And I didn't look it up. I didn't look up how to make a 12-week project. I didn't look up what are good actions to become a stand-up comedian, because those are things I've researched before. And also because I know my own brain best. I know what works for me. And so I just asked myself, and then I came up with what I think were pretty good answers. And for example, even though I don't think my sign language assessment, the one that I did during the past 28 days was affected, I think my next assessment is going to be affected by this, because I was struggling with sign language grammar and word order. And I think the issue was just sort of fuzzy and shapeless in my mind. It was just something that I have to figure out how to improve at some point, sort of thing. But then because I was writing down stuff and asking myself questions, I was like, okay, how do I improve on this? And I knew the answer. The answer was think in sign language, right? Don't translate from English to sign language. It's almost inevitable that way, that some of this English grammar will carry over to my signing, because I'm thinking in English and trying to real-time translate into sign language. Think in sign language. Sign first and write down notes later if I need them for, to remind myself of what I signed, because one of the assessments is to come up with a story. So it sounds so obvious, but it had been kind of a shapeless issue that I didn't really know how to address for a long time. And then I just clearly asked myself a question and my brain clearly answered it. And I think a big thing is that just by committing to doing something, the daily videos, and then doing it, I kind of proved to myself that I can do stuff. Again, doesn't sound like much of a big deal, but it was to me. And for example, just the fact that a few days ago I said, at the end of this chapter, I feel like I'm ready to embark on my own 12-week project. And then a week later, I was there with a 12-week project and had started taking actions from it. It's unheard of in my life, okay? It's unheard of, this kind of saying I'll do something and straight away doing it. It's very rare in my life, and not because I'm unmotivated or lazy, but because it's just not usually how my brain works. I just try to do everything at once and I get overwhelmed. I believe this is the second big strand of changes, but I'm aware that the way I've been talking, it's not been clear that they were grouped into 3 bits. So, it's a party, okay? It's a party. We're going wild with the chamomile. The second big chunk was to do with starting to go to community gardening. Again, it wasn't directly a result of the videos. I barely filmed it, so it wasn't, it's not like I went to have footage or something like that. But because I'd committed to the one thing at a time, one of my goals for a very long time was to go volunteering and to meet more people in my local area, because I moved here quite a while ago and I'm not really embedded in the local community. And it'd been on my list for ages, but it was never the top of the list, and so I never got to it. So because I picked that, and because I had the videos to kind of keep me accountable to the one thing at a time project, regardless of what that one thing was, I actually found something that I could do, and then I turned up and I did community gardening. And then some of the cascading effects of me joining the community gardening group were that someone there introduced me to this event where I made the love spoons with clay. I was also invited to go to do some litter picking, and there I met some people that introduced me to a different volunteering group, and with them I went to help out at an event at a local temple, and I met people that I would not have met otherwise probably, and everyone was so nice and offered me loads of food. And with that volunteering group, I'm going to be signing up to provide meals for people who need them and for social visits for isolated or lonely elderly people. So the one action of taking one thing off my one project at a time list, which was do some volunteering, any kind, even if it's a one-off, just by taking that off, it had kind of a knock-on effect on other stuff as well. And then the last category of things that are connected to making the videos are things that happened, I guess, because I wanted to keep making the videos, or just more directly because of the action of making videos. One thing was the committing to studying Japanese with my mom and my sister. Now, this is something that, of course, I'd been meaning to do for a long time. I had learned Japanese on my list of projects, but I don't know that it would have come about in the way that it did had it not been for the daily videos. Because when I was visiting my family, my mom and my sister were aware that I was making the daily videos, and on one of the evenings it was getting late and I hadn't made a video yet. I'd had a busy day and I still wanted to make one, and they were both really supportive that, oh no, we don't want you to break your streak. And so we were brainstorming ideas with my mom, and we got on to talking about how much I would like to learn more Japanese. And we made a little clip where my mom did a kind of impromptu lesson for me in Japanese, and off the back of that we committed to doing it once a week online from now on. It's something that may have happened anyway, even without the daily videos, but I think because of the energy that I had because of the daily videos, because of that kind of forward movement and mood that put me in, I kind of finally broached that conversation with my mom. Not that it was a scary conversation or anything, but it's just, it may not have come up otherwise, basically. And a final very, very, very lovely effect of these daily videos is that I've started to connect with some other people here on YouTube, some of whom are also just starting out on YouTube like myself, and others who are a little bit more established as well, and, you know, commenting and just seeing other people's videos and being so inspired, and like it's just been really nice. And I genuinely didn't think that anybody would watch the videos when I started, so it's just very nice to not only to get a positive response, but actually to feel, you know, I'm sure very parasocially, but feel like I'm connecting with people and just watching other people's videos. That's been the nicest part. And now on to some more, not necessarily negative stuff, but, you know, potential issues, lessons to be learned. First one, and I've been talking about this, sorry. I don't know why, well, I'm trying to stop saying that I don't know, because let's face it, most of the time I do know, and I just don't want to say it. I know why. I have not really been sleeping enough. I've kind of just been making the videos and editing them late into the night, and by late into the night I mean sometimes into the morning. And why am I doing that? Possibly because of the same reason why I leave things the very last minute, right? I have given myself an artificial deadline, artificial in the sense that nothing is actually going to happen if I don't post every single day, but I have given myself a deadline, and then I'm stretching the limits of what that deadline might be, in the same way that when I had my dissertation, I submitted it 45 minutes before the deadline, when everybody else kind of thought, well, that is a very worst case scenario deadline, let's submit it the week before, just in case anything happens. And I was on the website 45 minutes before, and that was just because my husband said, you really have to submit it now. I would have left it until later. I have submitted essays, not my final dissertation, but essays with about 2 minutes to spare. So that's the same thing happening here. To be honest, I'm not beating myself up about it. It's just how I work, and it works, right? In the sense that I've done it. I've done one video every day. However, it's not sustainable. I have to sleep sometimes. And I have been sleeping, obviously. And that brings me to the second thing. This is unsustainable because the only reason I was able to do it this way is that I currently don't have a job. I'm in between jobs. But the moment I start having more of a regular work schedule, I would not be able to not sleep and then have a nap during the day and so on. So it's unsustainable to continue this way. Another thing that came up is that, in a sense, making the videos has become its own project, obviously, because it's quite labor intensive. And so, in a way, if I want to be focusing on a different project that isn't video making the videos interrupts that flow. And if the point is that I'm trying to pick a project and be in that flow and, not be distracted by stuff, making the videos is sort of counterproductive. And finally, but quite importantly, because of the quantity of the output, the quality of the videos is variable, which I'm not that bothered by in terms of myself. I had stated that the point was just to make the videos, and they don't have to be the best videos ever, it's just to make them. But because someone is watching them and more people could potentially watch them now that they're out there, I kind of feel a responsibility to make them somewhat meaningful to people. They don't have to be the best video people have ever watched, but I feel like I don't want to waste people's time. And also I want to make them more accessible. So at the start, I was doing subtitles for every single video, like actual me doing the subtitles properly, not just the closed captions, the automatic closed captions. And I have not been doing that for the videos of the past couple of weeks because I just ran out of time because I was constantly recording and editing and trying to do the project that I wanted to film for that day also, which wasn't filming, you know what I mean? So I just kind of ran out of time and I have not been cleaning up those subtitles. I've just kind of been leaving them as the automated captions, which are not always 100% correct, obviously. Especially as someone who's studying sign language, it's insane for me to not have good quality subtitles on my videos. And I will fix it. I will go back and make sure that all of my videos have well formatted subtitles. But that's one of the things that has been an issue with the kind of rhythm of putting out the videos. I've just not had time to do these things that are quite important, making sure that the videos are of good quality. And I don't mean necessarily like the video or the sound quality, but that they have something in them that is at the very least entertaining or helpful or insightful, something in them, and that they are accessible. So for the next month, what I'm going to try to do is maintain the things that worked, which is kind of keeping the momentum going. I don't think it's a problem that making the videos was sometimes the motivation to do something in my real life. I don't think necessarily that makes the motivation not genuine. For example, going volunteering. I didn't just do it because I wanted to talk about it on camera, if you know what I mean. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time, but I think the momentum of the daily videos finally gave me the kick to actually go out there, find the opportunity and turn up. So I would like to keep that kind of forward momentum with the videos. But at the same time, I would also like to sleep sometimes and to increase the quality and accessibility of the videos. So what I'm going to try to do for the next month is do 2 videos a week. I can already foresee issues with this because I'm already thinking, well, the reason why I was going to sleep at 4 a.m. isn't because it is not possible to do daily videos and go to sleep at a normal time. It's because I procrastinate until the last minute, or not really procrastinate necessarily, but the tasks expand to fill the time that I give to them. So if I tell myself that I'll make 2 videos every week, that means that every video has 3.5 days to be made, and I will take the entire 3.5 days to make the videos. That's what I'm foreseeing already, but we're not worrying about that at the moment. The goal is just to make 2 videos a week, and that's the main goal, to make it more sustainable and be able to sleep. The quality, accessibility wise, yes, I do want to do that, but quality in terms of the actual quality of the video is the secondary one. And I feel awful saying that because it's like, I don't mind if I post slop here and you watch it. But what I mean is, I don't want to put that pressure on myself that, oh, if I'm taking 3 days to make a video instead of 1 day, it has to be 3 times better. That's what I mean. I do want to make the videos better, but I'm not going to give myself a very specific threshold of how much better the videos have to be. Maybe that would be something for a later month, you know, I'll want to add more special effects or something in the videos. But I think for this month, it's 2 videos a week, and that's that. Thank you for watching and for coming to my celebration and my very wild party. And I'll actually not be seeing you tomorrow this time. I will see you in 2, maybe 3 days. And that's all from me. Good night.